Constantine V and the short reigns of Artabasdos and Leo IV. Constantine V was crowned Eastern Roman Emperor on June 18, 741 AD after the death of his father, Leo III. Right at the beginning of his reign, Emperor Constantine had trouble from the get-go. One of his generals, Artabasdos, a former governor of the province of Armenia, Constantine's brother-in-law and current master of the palace, rebelled and crowned himself emperor. Constantine and Artabasdos were supposed to be fighting side by side against the Umayyad, who still had soldiers in eastern Anatolia and were going to drive them out, but instead he attacked the emperor and headed to Constantinople to be crowned. Artabasdos felt he had a rightful claim to the crown since he helped Constantine's father, Leo III, overthrow Theodosius III back in 717 AD. For the next 2 years, the empire was divided, with two emperors, Artabasdos ruling in Constantinople with support from the provinces of Thracia, Armenia, and Aspisian. Meanwhile, the rightful emperor, Constantine V, had support from Thracian and Anatolic provinces. The clash between the two emperors led to a civil war within the Eastern Roman Empire, which would last for almost 2 years. During his brief reign as Emperor of Constantinople, Artabasdos removed Iconoclasm, trying to curry to the favor of the Orthodox Church. Because of this move, the Patriarch of Constantinople, Anastasius, who was originally in favor of removing icons due to being appointed by Leo III, had a change of heart and crowned Artabasdos emperor. Meanwhile, Constantine took refuge in the fortress city of Amorium and made it his new capital in the province of Anatolia. From here, he gathered up officers and soldiers loyal to his father Leo III, and for the next year gathered support to topple Artabasdos. In May of 743, Artabasdos made his move and sought to eliminate Constantine, but was defeated in battle at the city of Sardis. Constantine would be on the offensive and defeat Artabasdos' son, Nicetas, and his army from the Armenian province at the Battle of Modrine. He rallied his soldiers and clashed with Constantine again near the city of Nicomedia, but was crushed, paving the emperor's way to enter Constantinople. Artabasdos' reign ended on November 2nd, 743 AD, when Constantine entered the city of Constantinople after a brief siege. Artabasdos, his family and cronies, fled the city and sought refuge in an imperial castle in the province of Aspisian, but they were turned in by locals and brought back to Constantinople. Artabasdos and his son, the crown prince Nicephorus and general Nicetas, were publicly blinded in the hippodrome and paraded around in front of a large crowd before they were sent to exile in a monastery. One of the first things Constantine did after officially reclaiming his throne was to publicly mass blind his enemies and humiliate the Patriarch of Constantinople, Anastasius, for crowning his brother-in-law emperor by having him paraded around the hippodrome sitting on a donkey after he was stripped of his title, whipped, and had his eyes plucked out while being heckled and jeered by an angry crowd. After he publicly supported the reinstitution of Iconoclasm, Anastasius was brought back as Patriarch of Constantinople. Constantine ordered iconoclasm restored and many icons were removed or painted over. Like his father Leo, he viewed that icons were akin to idols and they should not be worshipped, and images of Christ should not be shown, for he is God and cannot be worshipped as an idol as stated in the Ten Commandments. To gain support from the people and to distract them from the icon controversy, Constantine used the hippodrome to entertain the populace and gain strong support from the military. He also used the hippodrome as a place for cheap entertainment, such as chariot races, public humiliations for prisoners of war, and political opponents. Constantine continued the social and political reforms that his father instituted during his reign. He reorganized the provinces, taking away power from the military governors and gave it to local governments in order to prevent incidents like the 20 Years' Anarchy and the Civil War started by his own brother-in-law. He also reorganized the military, making it a more professional army instead of having to rely on conscriptions. During Constantine's reign in 752 AD, he secured the empire's borders in Anatolia against the Arabs, who were now under the Abbasid Caliphate, who succeeded the Umayyad. He had his imperial army venture into their territory to regain some former land. In 755 AD, Constantine turned his attention to the Bulgarians, who have been inching closer and closer to Constantinople. The Eastern Roman army chased them out, but the war continued for the next several years, with Constantine's army getting the upper hand until 759, when they were defeated at the Battle of the Rishki Pass. But the Bulgarians erred in not pursuing the invaders, and they would pay for it on June 30th, 763 AD, when Constantine would launch a large-scale invasion into the Bulgarian Kingdom and defeat them at the Battle of Anchialius. After the battle, which took a heavy toll on both sides, a victorious Constantine marched back into Constantinople and held a triumph in his honor, along with a lot of Bulgarian POWs, who he had some executed in the Hippodrome in front of a large audience of his fans, while others were killed outside the Golden Gate of the city. But the Eastern Romans failed to deliver a fatal blow to the Kingdom of Bulgaria, and it would come back to haunt them years later when the war between the two nations would resume in 789 AD. The empire's hold on Italy would shrink, however, under Constantine's watch, as he felt that the Italian provinces were of low priority, as he would lose Ravenna for good after they revolted previously under his father Leo III to the Lombards, and Rome would seek protection from the Franks after several raids from the Lombards. Constantine continued to control more territory in the Balkan region, slowly restoring the empire to its original borders and resettling Christian refugees from the east into the area, which was still suffering from depopulation. Sadly, Emperor Constantine V would die on September 14, 775 AD, at the age of 57, while preparing another campaign against the Bulgarians. He was succeeded by his 25-year-old son, Leo IV, who would be nicknamed the Khazar due to his mother, Irene, being a Khazarian princess. His reign would only last 5 years until he died on September 8, 780 AD, from tuberculosis. During his short reign, Leo would wage war against the Abbasid Caliphate in the eastern frontier, defending his grandfather's ancestral lands of Syria. He also resettled many of the Christians in the region into the Thracian province. Leo's death would bring the rise of his 9-year-old son to the throne. Constantine VI, with his mother, Empress Irene of Athens, acting as his regent until he was of age to rule the empire. Thanks for watching another episode of the Byzantine history of the Eastern Roman Empire. My name is Joseph Ulibas, and I hope to see you soon. And if you enjoyed this series, please subscribe to this channel.